Hi, this is Megan with Tigress Nutrition and Mindset Coaching. Today I wanted to show you one of my favorite recipes. This recipe comes from the Minimalist Baker. She's got a fabulous blog. I've used this recipe a lot for my Cooking with Children program, Little Wellness Warriors, as well as my clients who want easy, ready to go, fast, healthy snacks. So this is an almond butter and jelly bar, and you can totally customize it. I'm using almond butter today. Also fabulous with sunflower seed butter. You can sub out any dried fruit. Today I'm using dried apricots. You could use blueberries, cherries, strawberries. Any dried fruit will do. Our ingredients we're using today are oats, dates. Today I'm using walnuts, but you could use almonds or any other nut you prefer. I'm using almond butter, some maple syrup, a little bit of vanilla, and some oats. So I've got measured out here 1.5 cups of oats, and we're gonna chop up some walnuts next and add that to the frying pan to toast. You can toast it on the frying pan or you can toast it in the oven on a rimmed baking sheet. Up to you. I prefer to keep it on the stovetop so I can keep a watchful eye on it, because it's only a matter of a minute or two that it can go from beautiful toasty golden to burnt. So whatever works for you. If you put it in the oven or on the stove, I always recommend setting a timer when you're learning how to multitask in the kitchen and handle multiple stations at the same time. Okay, let's get started. So we're gonna be using 1/4 cup of walnuts. You know, this is an approximate measurement. This is almost a 1/2 cup at this point. Recipe calls for a 1/4 cup. I'm using a 1/2. So just a quick chop. All right, you're just looking to try and keep uniform pieces. How big of pieces am I looking for? Just think about what you would want in your granola bar. These look pretty good. I think we're gonna stop there. So we're gonna go ahead and toast these on our frying pan. So I've got a hot pan waiting. Let's see, and it's about a medium heat. We're just gonna watch this. Every few minutes, we're gonna toss it around. You're really just watching for that color. It's pretty pale right now, the oats are raw, and we're toasting those as well as the nuts. Just keep a watchful eye, and like I said before, set a timer. So I've got about 1/2 cup of dried apricots here. Up to you how you wanna do this. Usually when I have bigger items like this, instead of a smaller item that's a quick chop, I'll cut into strips. I've got my strips, they're all facing the same way. I'm gonna cut across this way. So next we're gonna be using dates, and now is a good time to soak your dates if they're dry. You may, when you're getting your dates, ideally they're fresh, they're still soft, just in the same way that these apricots still are soft. If they're not, you can just boil some hot water and pour over the dates, and that'll soften them up. So sticky. All right, that looks pretty good. Give our oats another quick stir. We're just constantly stirring them between tasks. Next, I'm gonna measure out my almond butter and my maple syrup. We're gonna add that to the frying pan just for a minute so that those two are well combined. We're doing 1/4 cup of almond butter, which is about 2 large spoons. Let's take a look. 1/4 cup is down here. Another small scoop. We're doing the same amount of maple syrup. We're just gonna double it. Got our equal parts maple syrup and almond butter, and then we're gonna throw that into the frying pan. So I've got my pan on low medium. Our goal is to melt the almond butter and have it incorporate well with the maple syrup. These two are our binders. They're going to combine with the dates and hold everything together. Don't want to skip this step. It really makes it so much easier to have a liquid that's well combined instead of trying to stir in cold almond or sunflower seed butter or peanut butter. Got our dry oats, our almond butter and maple syrup. So last part of our recipe is 1 cup of dates. We're gonna be pitting them. I'm just gonna do an estimate. Whatever I don't use, I'll just throw back in the top of my jar and I'll be happy to have pitted dates ready to use. You can do this with a knife or your fingers. Obviously, knife is gonna be faster. You're just making a cut down the center to open up and pull the pit out. Be careful with how much pressure you're applying to the dates. This is certainly gonna be more dangerous if your knife is dull. Here's a great example. Earlier in the video, I was talking about soaking your dates, so this one is nice and soft. That's like ideally what you're looking for. Watch out for these. The top of the date, we don't want those. Those are hard and they won't blend. So this recipe calls for a food processor. A lot of my recipes do. It is one of my favorite kitchen staples. Highly recommend you go out and get one. I use a Cuisinart, but there are so many out there. I've had my Cuisinart for 5 years now and it is so sturdy. It's my trusty steed, Cuisinart. Get those in there. We're really looking for it to form a ball. That's how we know that it's completely broken down. It'll pick up speed and start rolling this date ball around. As I said earlier, if your dates are dry and they're hard, you can't break them apart with your hands. Just soak them in a bowl of water. Hot water will soften them. They just need a few minutes. So this is where it's starting to, so you can see, started to really build up speed. The date ball started to rock the food processor a little. That's how you know we're done. You can see it's completely broken down. The date has been made into small pieces, and that's what's really gonna hold our recipe together. Okay. I always add a pinch of salt. How much is a pinch? It is really up to you. I use like a 3-finger pinch, a little dash of vanilla. I'm not that attached to the measurements on this, but if you are, maybe half a teaspoon of vanilla. Here's the fun part. I would actually recommend getting in here with your hands if you've given it enough time to cool. You don't want to be sticking your hands into like hot almond butter and hot oats. A great tip is you can also throw your date after it's been in the food processor into the frying pan with the almond butter, and that'll help loosen it up. It smells so good. You're gonna love this recipe. Kids love it. I love it as a snack. It feels like a sweet dessert, but it's a great protein source. Really wanna break up all that date. Feels like that's pretty well incorporated. Everything is sticky, it's holding together when I'm pressing onto it. I'm feeling inspired to add one more addition to this, the hemp seed. It's one of my favorite sources of protein, it's delicious. I think just a little sprinkle would be some magic in here. Maybe that's a 1/4 cup. It's gonna add some of that nutty flavor. It's a nice addition because it's not roasted. All of the other ingredients are kind of toasty. You could also add chia seeds to your bar, just for some added superfoods and extra nutrition in there. The point of eating is for fuel, nutrition, and joy. So that looks great, pretty well incorporated. I've added all my ingredients. Before I start, I like to make sure everything on the counter was added. So double check, yes, I used all these ingredients, everything's in there. So our last step is we're going to be squishing it into a glass pan. You can use something smaller. Parchment paper is gonna keep it really easy for removal and avoiding that sticky mess. Use your spatula, use your hand. You just want to be pressing them. We're using the glass dish as a mold. You could use anything like a cake pan, essentially what you'd be using to make brownies. Making sure to fill in all the corners nice and even. Folding it over so that the sides that got pushed up with my spatula are nice and flat. Okay, so that looks great. We're pretty much done. We're just going to set it in the freezer and it will firm up together. And then we cut it and it's ready to be stored. I just took our granola bars out of the freezer. They're nice and firm. Pop these guys out. Up to you how you want to cut them. You could do squares. I like doing bars. Look at those. Perfect. Easy grab and go snack that's healthy and delicious. So great one for the kids, great one for a healthy bar that's processed sugar free. Really play with the recipe and customize it. Those are your granola bars. I hope this inspires you to make healthy choices for your busy life. Enjoy the recipe and I'll see you next time. Bye.